In Boynton Beach, Florida, what looked like a whirlwind romance was actually the centerpiece of a public police sting. The couple, Dalia and Michael Dippolito, seemed to have it all, but their life was built on lies and about to crumble spectacularly. On August 5, 2009, police cordoned off the Dippolito residence. They weren't investigating a murder, they were staging one. It was theatre for an audience of one, Dalia Dippolito. Police had received a tip that the newlywed wife was plotting to kill her husband, so they staged a fake murder to stop a real one. Adding to the surrealism, cameras from the TV show Cops were rolling. The police had invited them to film, turning the undercover operation into a primetime spectacle. Miles away, Dalia Dippolito was at the gym, following her constructed alibi. A police sergeant called, part of the trap, but she let it go to voicemail. It was a call designed to lure her to the scene. When Dalia arrived, an officer delivered the fabricated news. Her husband was dead. Her reaction was immediate and dramatic. She collapsed, racked with sobs, a performance for the police and the cops' cameras. Investigators were skeptical of her grief. Dalia and Michael had married after a whirlwind courtship just months earlier. In a gesture of love, Michael put his townhouse solely in Dalia's name days after the wedding. He would come to regret it. Prosecutors argued her motive was simple greed. With Michael dead, she'd get the house and his savings. Her husband, Michael, was also on probation for past fraud convictions, making him a plausible target for a violent crime, a fact Dalia seemed to count on to deflect suspicion. Before settling on murder, Dalia allegedly tried to get Michael sent back to prison. She planted drugs in his car and tipped off police to frame him for a probation violation. When that failed, the scheme escalated to murder. Dalia turned to an old flame, Mohammed Shihadeh, asking if he knew a hitman. The shocking request put Shihadeh in an impossible position. Alarmed, Shihadeh went to the police. They acted quickly, turning him into a confidential informant and wiring him for sound to record Dalia's deadly intentions. With damning audio, police set the final trap, a meeting between Dalia and a supposed hitman, who was actually undercover officer Widdy Jean. In a parking lot, hidden cameras captured everything as Jean gave Dalia every chance to back out. He asked directly, "Are you sure you want to kill him?" Dalia didn't hesitate. Her response was chilling and infamous. 5,000% sure. She spoke with complete detachment, as if it were a transaction, not a crime of passion. Officer Jean proposed a staged robbery that would go wrong, resulting in Michael's death, giving Dalia an alibi at the gym. She agreed, providing a photo of her husband, a diagram of their home, and a $1,200 down payment. The trap was set. August 5, 2009. The sting unfolded at the couple's home. They removed Michael, then dressed the house with the props of a killing. From the street, it looked tragically real. Television cameras stood by to document the moment of truth. Michael knew, but would she go through with it? At LA Fitness, Dalia missed the first call.
"Ma'am, we need you to come home right away."
She drove back into a carefully scripted nightmare.
"I'm sorry, there's been an incident."
Her reaction, shaking, sobbing, played out on camera. To the outside eye, a widow in shock. Inside, detectives collected the final pieces, the recordings, the promises, the price. At the station, the deception continued. Detectives asked who might want Michael dead. She named suspects, old victims, bad influences, anyone but herself. Then they ended the play. Michael was alive, and they had the tapes. The police didn't just have a confession, they had a blueprint for murder. The recordings captured her planning, routes, timelines, and an unwavering commitment to the act. She discussed the best time to strike, how the killer should enter the home, and meticulously crafted her own alibi. Every word was a nail in her own coffin, preserved on tape for the world to hear. To eliminate any doubt of entrapment, the police needed to be absolutely certain. Undercover officer Widdy Jean, posing as the hitman, met with Dalia in his car, the entire exchange captured on video. He pressed her repeatedly, giving her every opportunity to back out. Was she absolutely sure? He needed to hear it from her, unequivocally.
You sure you want this done? I'm going to do it. Once I leave here, it's done. There's no turning back.
The question hung in the air, a final chance for her to stop everything. Her response was not one of hesitation, but of chilling resolve.
I'm positive I'm not, gonna have any regrets. I'm a lot tougher than I look.
The deal was brutally simple. $7,000 for her husband's life. The murder was to be disguised as a botched robbery. Dalia provided a down payment and photos of her husband, detailing his schedule to ensure he would be home alone. Her own alibi was set. She would be at the gym, establishing a public presence far from the crime scene she was orchestrating. With the evidence secured, police set up a fake crime scene. When Dalia arrived, she performed a dramatic scene of grief. But her act was cut short when she was escorted to the police station. There the facade crumbled. Once confronted, she denied it, insisted she had no role.
This isn't a movie. This is your life. These are your words. These are your meetings. That's you on the recordings, Dalia. We have everything.
The evidence was overwhelming, a mountain of her own words and actions that made any denial futile. She was formally charged with soliciting the commission of first-degree murder. The case immediately became a media sensation. Then began a legal saga that would span nearly a decade. A first trial and conviction, a successful appeal on a technicality, and 2 more grueling trials that kept the story in the headlines. So why would she do it? Prosecutors argued it was a toxic cocktail of greed and infidelity. She wanted the waterfront condo, his savings, and a new life with someone else. But before she settled on murder, she allegedly tried a different approach. They said she knew his past, 2 years in prison for fraud, and tried first to set him up again. She allegedly planted drugs in his car and called in an anonymous tip, hoping his parole would be violated. Elizabeth Parker, the prosecutor, laid out the chilling arc. When framing him didn't work, Parker argued Dalia's plan escalated. It wasn't a crime of passion, but a cold, logical next step.
She treated the plan like a transaction. Cold, casual, chilling. Her lack of emotion on the tapes was more damning than any confession.
In court, jurors watched hours of the damning recordings, every nod, every price, every promise. Her defense argued it was all a setup, an elaborate hoax orchestrated by Michael himself to chase reality TV fame. They claimed Dalia was just an actor in his script. Both he and Mohammed, the informant, vehemently denied it. The legal battle was a marathon. The first trial shockingly ended in a mistrial, but the state was determined. They brought the case back to court, where the video evidence felt even more damning. The jury was tasked with untangling a web of love lies and a meticulously recorded murder-for-hire plot. After days of deliberation, the verdict was read. Guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. At the sentencing hearing, the prosecution painted Dalia as a cold, manipulative woman, while her defense pleaded for leniency. The judge handed down the sentence: 16 years in state prison, a significant term, though less than the maximum. Cameras captured Dalia's stoic expression as the gavel fell, sealing her fate. Her new home became the Lowell Correctional Institution Annex in Marion County, one of Florida's largest women's prisons. The transition from a life of luxury condos to the harsh, regimented reality of prison was undoubtedly a shock. Her projected release date is April 6, 2032. According to her attorney, Dalia has adapted by carving out a routine. She works in the prison cafeteria and leads a Bible study group, finding a new role and perhaps solace within the prison's spiritual community. It's a quiet, structured existence, a stark contrast to the chaos she orchestrated. But the sentence extends far beyond the prison walls. The most innocent victim in this saga is her son, who was just a young boy when his mother's life unravelled. He is now being raised by his grandmother, Dalia's mother. Despite the physical separation, we're told Dalia and her son remain in close contact through letters and phone calls, a fragile connection maintained across miles of razor wire. He is growing up with a mother he can only know through supervised visits and monitored conversations. And what of Michael, the man who was the intended target? He has spent years trying to move on, not just from the trauma, but from the bizarre public spectacle it became. In interviews, he has consistently pushed back against the defence's narrative that this was all a stunt. He insists the threat was terrifyingly real, a genuine attempt on his life. For Michael, the verdict was a validation, a confirmation that what he experienced wasn't a hoax. None of this would have come to light without Mohammed Shihadeh. It was his conscience, his decision to go to the police, that set the entire sting operation in motion. By turning informant, he placed himself in a dangerous position. His cooperation was the key that unlocked the investigation, and it almost certainly saved Michael Dippolito's life. The case exploded into a media phenomenon, an anatomy of a sting broadcast in prime time. Legal experts weighed in, debating the ethics and effectiveness of the operation. A sting is a controversial but powerful tool. It doesn't create a criminal. It provides an opportunity for a person's pre-existing criminal intent to be revealed. And a reminder, not every crime scene tells the story you think it does. In this case, the police didn't just hear about Dalia's plan. They watched her execute it, step by step, right up to the point of handing over the cash. The recordings, the corroboration, the caution. These were the tools that turned whispers of a conspiracy into an ironclad case. Ultimately, the jury saw through the claims of a hoax. Faced with Dalia's own words and actions on tape, they found the plan to be undeniable. A marriage built on a foundation of lies was undone. A sinister plot was exposed by the very technology Dalia hoped to use for fame, and a sentence was sealed, bringing a final dramatic close to a case that blurred the lines between reality and performance. It's a story that forces us to question what we see and to look closer at the secrets that unfold behind closed doors. I'm your host. If you find yourself captivated by the complexities of human nature and the pursuit of justice, subscribe for more true crime investigations where the truth is often far more shocking than fiction. Stay safe and always stay curious.